The Port of Houston is the busiest port in the U.S. and the largest on the Gulf Coast. It is the maritime gateway for the entire state and beyond, to reach over 100 million people in America's heartland. The Army Corps of Engineers are investing $80 million in order to deepen and widen the ship channel.
From just a consumer perspective, I think it's a good thing because it will allow for trade and improve passage of ships in and out of the ship channel. I think that it also improves safety for the ships moving in and out of the ship channel.
Each year, more than 247 million tons of cargo move through the greater Port of Houston, carried by more than 223,000 vessels.
From an economical standpoint, it's kind of a necessary evil because the Houston Ship Channel is one of the biggest ports in the country. It's a very costly endeavor, but it's required for the entire country to sustain many different types of trade.
Dredging stirs up sediments in the bottom of the bay, which can disrupt habitat for wildlife, but it can also stir up some things you don't want it to stir up, like for instance the refineries and plastic industry around here have historically deposited waste products like dioxins, which are carcinogens. They can cause cancer and things like that, and they've settled into the sediments in the bay, and if you stir those up, you're kind of re-releasing them. Things like oysters, other types of marine organisms will draw them in and consume them.
Okay, so whenever you're dredging, especially in places like the Gulf of Mexico, we've had a lot of different types of oil spills. We've got chemical companies out there on the daily, there's things going into the water that eventually precipitates down into the sediment. So the fishing communities would be the first where we would see impact at the human level, because if we go deep Gulf fishing, those are the ecosystems that would be most impacted by sediment disruption and dioxins in the fish. So currently we can't fish, or we're not supposed to eat the fish from the San Jacinto River in our area because the dioxin concentration is so high. So when those sediments are precipitating out of the sediment from dredging and into the water, it's becoming part of the food chain, and dioxins are devastatingly impactful for organisms at the higher levels.